Well folks, this morning it was -2 degrees C, approximately 28 degrees Fahrenheit, and snowing, so obviously I had to come outside. Yeah, unfortunately most of the snow has now disappeared. Temperature's risen up a couple of degrees and most of it's melted now, and it's now drizzling, so basically ideal weather for a bit of hypothermia, if you like, maybe pulling out the Gervan in a little while. I've just increased my elevation by about 300 meters and there's still snow up here, so that's lovely. Just coming with a lightweight load out today. That's 3 litres of water, cook set, basic woods tools, chair, tarp, and obviously my filming equipment. Just out for the day for a bit of fun. It has started sleeting now, sort of half sleet, half snow, half rain, and it's supposed to start snowing again in a couple of hours time, so looking forward to being out while that happens. Hopefully my car won't get jammed in where it is and I'll be able to get home this evening, but actually, you know what, not to worry, all my survival equipment and food is with me, so shouldn't be too many problems. Okay, I'm just going to set up tarp now and get back to you. Right folks, as you know, I'm always out in the woods and testing out various bits of equipment, and today I'm testing out the Sven saw. My first time using one of these, but so far it's proving to be really useful. I'll talk a bit about it later, after I've used it for a little bit of time, so I can see what it's about, and yeah, I'll give you my observations. Well folks, it started to snow again, so that's nice. So definitely we'll be needing this fire very shortly, won't we, boy? That's right. So I'm going to crack on, and actually I'm testing out a new product again to get this fire lit. It's the Live Fire original, and this is going to be a pretty hard test. I've been lazy and I'm not preparing my tinder very well. In fact, we're going straight to wood, and we'll see how effective this fire lighter is. Just thought I'd continue breaking in Spyderco full review a couple of videos back. So far proving to be a surprisingly good knife for the woods. crappy feather stick, but it won't hurt. For God's sake, sorry folks, I forgot to press the record button. But basically you have to fluff it up quite a lot before it will actually catch a spark, and if you don't fluff it up sufficiently, it catches the spark and then it goes out. But it seems to be burning quite nicely now, and I think we're at the stage where I can start adding some wood over the top, and let's see what happens. As I said, I'm going straight to fuel pretty much, not bothering about the tinder stage too much. Been about 4 or 5 minutes now, and it's still burning nicely, unlike my fire. But I didn't really expect much to happen. That was a very harsh test for this tinder, or any tinder for that matter. Alright, I think we're going to get out the hexamine in a minute. Right folks, it may not be pretty, but it certainly works. I've yet to come against a tinder that will not light with hexamine. I dare it not to. And that's more like it. I don't know if you can see folks, but the conditions are really grisly. It's now -3 degrees C and absolutely freezing cold with a dirty, wet, sleety snow coming down. Ideal conditions for some hypothermia. But we're loving it, aren't we, boy? Well, I'm not so sure about him. But I definitely am. I have to say, this dog does not have much fire sense. Literally about 2 minutes ago, he actually walked over the fire and then stood in the fire for about 10 seconds, and he's just about to do it again. You're not very clever, are you? Fire burns, dumbass. No? Nothing? I tell you what folks, I'm really appreciating the German bag today. It's really doing a lot for me. Shame I can't get one for my dog. I'll tell you what folks, conditions out today are really miserable. Everything is so squelchy. And we've got a nice fog rolling in now as well, on top of the snow. So all in all, lovely. Come boy. So folks, I hope you enjoyed my trip out into the woods as much as I did, and a hell of a lot more than my dog did. Anyway, I just wanted to come with some basic conclusions about the Sven saw. I like the way it's designed. I didn't demonstrate this in the video, but basically you unscrew this nut here, and then that releases the part of the mechanism that stores the blade. So now that's off, you can release it from this side, which in turn releases the blades. Now to assemble, you put the bolt through there and through the hole at the top, like so. Slide all together. It is a little fiddly, I find. And then you reattach the bolt, the nut should I say, and once you've reached the correct amount of tension on the blade, you're ready to go. So that gives you a decent sized takedown saw. As you saw in the video, it cuts very effectively. That was standing deadwood, but yeah, went through it like butter pretty much. Couple of observations: I found that for prolonged use it's not an incredibly comfortable handle. However, if you use it with two hands in this grip, then you can get a lot more control and precision whilst sawing, as compared to say a traditional kind of folding wood saw, or you know, this kind of style with a locking mechanism. Equally, you can hold it on this side, so you can get a good control on both edges. So in a way it's a lot more versatile as compared to the folding saws. However, on the downside, as I said, it's not quite as comfortable, so I definitely advise using gloves for this one. I'd say this is more of a base camp tool rather than one that you want to be carrying with you throughout the woods, but that's just my personal preference and opinion. Another downside of this is I actually dropped this into the leaf litter whilst I was out in the woods, and luckily did manage to find it. However, you know, it would have been nice if they supplied a spare one, because I can imagine that that's going to be very easy to lose. Also, I found, as you saw in the video, it was very cold out there, and I was starting to lose dexterity, like it was becoming tricky to touch thumb to little finger, which is a good check for the onset of hypothermia. And I did find it quite tricky while standing out in the woods to put this whole thing together and take it apart again. It's not a quick kind of jobby. So as I said, I think it's a good tool, and it is reliable, and you can get replacement saw blades for it, so you can store one or two spare ones, which is always nice. So I think, yeah, it's a good work tool for sure. Not the most comfortable to use, but definitely very capable, and overall I give it a thumbs up. Saying that, however, there is another thing that you need to look out for, and that's the fact that when this is disassembled, it has some fairly sharp edges poking out. So if you're storing it in a rucksack, be sure to maybe put it inside another canvas bag or something along those lines, to prevent your equipment or indeed your rucksack from being damaged. It is slightly fiddly to disassemble, as I said. another reason why it should be left at base camp. So now we've got the bolt poking out, we can secure it with the nut, and that way the blade remains inside the protective aluminium casing. Very solid there, will not come out. So overall I like this design and probably will be using it more in the future. As to the live fire tinder, in theory I like the design. It does actually say scrape and lift to expose microfibers. Let's just try it again now that it's been used up a bit. Well, as you saw in the video, that was a pretty harsh test for this type of tinder. I'm not exactly sure in what capacity I'd use this in. I think as far as man-made tinders are concerned, this may not necessarily be my first choice. I much prefer baddest B fire fuses, for example, or wet fire tinder, or even good old hexamine or trioxane. I think those other tinders contain a lot more energy in themselves and therefore release a lot more heat. I just don't think this stuff gets up to the same temperatures that the other fuels do, so it's a bit trickier to light a fire. I do like the idea of it being in a tin and the fact that it is generally waterproof, so you can just stash it in there. I think it's best to think of this as a candle, so whatever you do with a candle you can do this pretty much. Obviously if you choke down on it then you can really limit the size of the flame, so I suppose it could be used to keep a small area slightly warmer, for example, as a fire lighting tinder. Kind of 50-50 on it at the moment. As I said, I'd much prefer a block of hexamine or trioxane if I really needed to get a fire going. And I think if you're going to carry man-made tinders, then why not carry the most efficient and effective? But still, I kind of like this for some reason. There is a definite cool factor there, and I think it could be useful in some situations. As this stuff burns down, what's left behind is essentially char cloth, and can be used again for various fire lighting, friction fire lighting purposes, for example. The fact that you have to remove it from the fire afterwards, once you've got the fire going, makes it tricky as well, because obviously tin gets very hot, so you have to be a bit more cautious, whereas I like the tinders you can just chuck directly into the middle of the fire and get it going that way. But still, I'll be doing more experimentation with this stuff for sure. Just finish up this video by talking a little bit more about the Spyderco Endura 4 VG10 steel. Check out the full review a couple of videos back on my channel if you want to see my full thoughts on that. But as you saw in this video, taking it out and giving it a nice testing out in the woods, that's the second time it's been out with me now, and proving to be very handy. Really love the fact that it's so lightweight. Although saying that, this time around when making feather sticks, because I was using seasoned wood, not green, I did notice there is a bit of flexibility side to side when you're giving it a little wiggle. That's not a failure of the lock in any way, it's just the whole actual blade. You can the whole handle, back lock spring, basically there is a bit of flex in it, so it's not the most rigid of knives in that respect, so you don't want to go sideways or any kind of prying motions. It's not really suited to that, but general whittling, wood carving and that kind of stuff, it's definitely excellent. And as I said, heavier wood cutting tasks personally are now done with my hatchet. So that draws to a close another All Outdoor One video. I hope you've all enjoyed. Genuinely appreciate all the help and support I get via this channel. Don't forget to check out my website, alphabushcraft.co.uk. Your support again is genuinely appreciated. This is All Outdoor One, signing up for now. Thanks for watching. Take care.